On Explorations this time, why man can't talk with the animals. This is Explorations, the story of man's extraordinary ability to communicate. As language evolved, so did man's social structure. Because he could communicate, man could cooperate. People converged into different groups, united by common languages. By communicating with each other, they were able to take control of their environment. Stories and experiences were passed from generation to generation. Wisdom was shared across time and space. Truths hard won could be preserved forever. As man's collective knowledge grew, so did his control over the earth. The more we understood the power communication gave to us, the more we sought out new, more efficient ways to communicate. The desire to dominate soon replaced our compulsion just to survive. In the case of mankind, the fittest are those who communicate the best. It is language that enables us to have dominion over our world. After Morse, the next great leap in communication came with Guglielmo Marconi.
Marconi was the person who really developed one of the key technologies of the 20th century and enabled us to do things that without radio we couldn't do, such as venture to the moon.
Marconi wanted to free man from the constraints of the telegraph's cables. In 1901, he attempted the unthinkable, a wireless transmission between England and North America. The skeptics predicted that the radio waves would fly off into space because of the curvature of the Earth.
It was shortly after midday, on December the 12th, 1901, that I placed a single earphone to my ear and started listening. I was at last on the point of putting the correctness of all my beliefs to test.
Instead of escaping the Earth, the radio waves bounced back from the ionosphere and leapt across the ocean. Radio suddenly thrust man into a brave new world of communication. Radio broadcasts meant that a single voice could be heard in every home. Before this, the only mass audiences were in sport or theatre. Communal experience hadn't changed much since ancient Greece. Now, an audience of millions could listen to the same voice at the same time. And for this audience, hearing was believing. They believed Orson Welles when he broadcast his dramatization of H.G. Wells' novel, War of the Worlds. They believed that aliens were actually invading America because they heard it on the radio. People once traveled vast distances to listen to the words of wise men. Now, they simply had to turn on a box in the corner of the living room. But radio soon became the Pandora's box of communication.
Switches are thrown. The producer is waiting at his microphone to speak his last word to the artist.
Man could communicate far. He could communicate fast. Now he could communicate to millions in an instant.
The station goes on the air.
News could be instantly delivered to entire nations, synchronized by radio. Whole populations could listen to the same thing at the same time. Radio transformed politics, culture, and society. It became an invaluable tool enabling people to see into the lives of others in places far away. Words gave man control over his world and over others. But there is also much important communication achieved without them. Human communication begins before a child can talk. The first cry of the baby and its tears may be vocal, but its true communications depend on body language and facial expressions. Humans have the most complex set of facial muscles in the animal kingdom. This makes a vast range of expressions possible. It's fundamental to man being such an expressive being.
First, I will show you how I kiss my girlfriend.
Many of our expressions look exactly the same in our ape relatives. As well as his expressive face, as man evolved, he discovered another ability in his urge to express himself. As we began to walk on 2 feet, our arms became free. We could develop tools. We could communicate with our newly liberated arms. As with facial expressions, to understand the sentiment, you need not speak the words. Human gesture is deeply rooted in our consciousness. These reflex actions are so ingrained in our psyche that even when the gesture can't be seen, it is still used. There is a common vocabulary in body language. The gesture speaks 1,000 words, not all of them very polite. Nowhere is non-verbal communication more crucial than in the key function of communication, attracting a partner. The animal kingdom excels in flamboyant sexual display. And man does a pretty good job of it too. It's the motivation driving much of our communication. We find ever new ways to connect and to engage. Our unmatched range of communication skills gives us myriad ways to express our complex emotions. We connect with others. Now, we're trying to connect with other species. It's with our closest relative, the chimpanzee, that we've made most progress.
What we're interested in is not whether it fitted some abstract theory of linguistics, but whether the chimpanzees could actually communicate information to us, things we didn't already know.
Tatu had black as her very favorite color. You'd go through a magazine and she'd point at a picture and give you eye-to-eye contact, a question, what is that? And for a while you played her game and you said, it's black, using her favorite sign. But then you tease her and say it was red, and of course she would correct you right away and say, it's black. She knew the answer, but she wanted you to talk about that.
The studies show that chimps can readily understand words.
Get your onions right here and put them in your bowl.
The evidence is clear that the chimps are doing much more than simply responding to stimuli.
Let me get you a spoon to start with, Hansi.
The chimps could understand and react to complex instructions.
Hansi, could you turn the water off again, please? Turn the water off, please.
But the researchers found more. Not only could the chimps understand words and respond with their own sign language, they also seemed to show opinions, attitudes, even feelings.
Need your bond here with all these other things.
It's clear that the chimps can understand a remarkable amount of what's said to them. They just can't talk back. Yet.
Give the doggy a shot.
In looking at what Kanzi can do, the kinds of utterances that he can emit, the kinds of really complex sentences that he can understand, make one suspect that in apes now, and certainly in early hominids, there was a capacity for some form of primitive language.
One theory is that man's thorax developed when he learnt to walk upright. The erect posture could be the reason for the extraordinary flexibility of our thorax.
One of the things that we know it enables us to do is make sounds like ga and ba and pa and da, sounds that we call consonants. Kanzi can't make these kinds of sounds. His sounds mostly vowel sounds. Now, if I try to talk to another person using only vowel sounds, they can't understand me.
Leaving aside the mental capacity of apes to form language, their physical inability to make the sounds of consonants is a key hindrance to developing sophisticated language. Human language has between 20 to 40 distinct sounds. From this, man makes thousands of words. We use consonants to separate noises into words, and it's from this that we make grammar and a fluent language. By the year 1000, only 5% of the world's population could read and write. The literate elite kept control of the very expensive writing materials. This made religious text all the more sacred and writing a highly specialized skill. By the year 2000, world literacy had soared over 80%. 600 million newspapers were printed every day worldwide. We can talk around the world in many ways. Computers had become the primary way to exchange information, with the United Kingdom alone sending 600,000 pages of information via email every second. By the year 3000, we might not need to read. The keyboard could be obsolete. Human and computer interfaces might evolve so we can transfer information by thought or speech to our computers and between ourselves around the world.